Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Philbert Yee. I am the project manager for the project we'll be talking about tonight, which is the resurfacing of the related work on Route 202 from Lyman Street in South Hadley to Pleasant Street in Granby of approximately 2 miles. In MassDOT's project information system is also known as the project file number 607474. I work in the roadway project management section at the Massachusetts Department of Transportation's Highway Division headquarters in Boston. I wish to inform you that your attendance at the design public hearing tonight can be formally recorded. Once the hearing is over, the attendance sheet will be part of the public records for the hearing. So if you would like your attendance at this hearing to be part of the public record, please sign in. The sign-in sheet is located at the round table behind you on my right. You can also pick up a handout with details about today's project. We have a great team up front here with me tonight. We can answer the question that you may have about the project. I would like to introduce the members of the hearing panel. To my immediate right is Keith Lincoln, and Karen Fung is seated to my right up front. They're the design engineers on the contract with MassDOT to design this project. To my immediate left is Susan Drave. She's from the right-of-way section in MassDOT, who will be talking about the right-of-way requirements. To her left is Mr. Mike Bodock. He's from District 2 office, from the project section, who's been reviewing this project. And to his left is Mr. Walter Mantini of Arlington Typing and Mailing. He will be making a verbatim transcript of tonight's hearing. I wish to add that the notice of the hearing, which is in the handout, was published in the legal advertisements in the Belchertown Sentinel on 2 consecutive Thursdays, April 26, 2018 and May 3, 2018. It was also published in the Town Reminder on 2 consecutive Fridays, April 27, 2018 and May 5, 2018. We are now looking for ways to better publicize these public meetings and hearings. Could you just show by hands how you find out about tonight's hearing? The legal ad in the 2 newspapers, a MassDOT official, city or town official, MassLife.dot websites, your neighbor or friends. Thank you. A copy of this notice is in your handout, and it will be attached in the final hearing transcript by Walter. The purpose of tonight's hearing is to allow us an opportunity to make a formal presentation of the proposed project, and at the same time, it will allow us to record your input concerning this project. The project we're talking about tonight is at 25% design stage, and the estimate total project at the 25% design stage is $5.75 million. This project is programmed to be funded by Federal Aid funding category of the National Highway System, with Federal Highway Administration paying 80% of the construction cost, and MassDOT would fund the remaining 20%. This project must be programmed in the statewide transportation improvement program in the appropriate federal fiscal year in order for MassDOT to solicit bids for eventual construction. This total $5.7 million cost does not include any right-of-way acquisition costs. The design is expected to be complete by the summer of 2019, and construction is expected to be complete within 24 months, approximately by the end of 2021. As you may be aware, the reason for the project is for resurfacing is the bad condition of the roadway pavement surface. There are no sidewalks or bicycle pavement markings facilities for bicyclists. In a few minutes, Keith Lincoln of Chappell Engineering is going to tell you about this project and how it will improve infrastructure and improve safety for all users of the new improved roadway. But first, I would like to ask Susan Drave, the right-of-way representative, to explain the right-of-way procedures. Susan?
Thank you. Hi, as you said, my name is Sue Draves, and I represent the Right-of-Way Bureau of the Massachusetts Department of Transportation Highway Division. The Right-of-Way Bureau is responsible for acquiring all of the necessary rights in private and public lands for the design, construction, and implementation of this project. Affected property owners will be contacted by personnel from the Right-of-Way Bureau or consultants representing the Massachusetts Department of Transportation Highway Division. The procedures used must comply with state and federal regulations governing the acquisition process. The current design plan indicates that permanent easements will be required. Other areas will require temporary construction easements. Affected property owners' rights are protected under our Massachusetts general laws, primarily Chapter 79. If a project is receiving federal funds, the property owner's rights are further defined under Title III of the Real Property Acts of 1970 as amended. I'll be happy to answer any general questions regarding the right-of-way activities during the open forum for questions, and I will be available after this public hearing for any specific questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. Now I wish to ask Keith Lincoln and Karen Fung from the consultant Chappell Engineering to describe this project for you. Please keep in mind that the project we are presenting you tonight is still in the design stages. After the designer has completed the presentation, I'll explain the hearing procedures and then open up the hearing to you, your questions or comments or concerns.
Thank you, Phil. Welcome all of you, and thank you for coming here tonight. With us here tonight, we have Phil Yee, our MassDOT project manager, Mike Baldock from MassDOT District 2 Projects, Susan Draves from MassDOT Right-of-Way, Walter Mantani from Arlington Typing and Mailing. I am Keith Lincoln with Chappell Engineering, the project manager, and our brilliant project engineer, Karen Fung, with us as well, and Philip Jean-Baptiste is here with me also. Public outreach on this project was initiated back in 2013 in a request from the South Hadley Bike Walk Path Working Group and the Department of Public Works, requesting that bike lane striping be painted on the roadway in conjunction with any future resurfacing to be done on Route 202. And as Phil said, that's the scope, among the scope of work on this project is to resurface Route 202. And the project begins just south of Dartmouth Street in South Hadley and extends northerly up past the Leaping Well Reservoir, northeasterly past the Stony Brook Bridge, and up to a point just south of the Pleasant Street intersection in the town of Granby. Why do we need this project? The two major issues that we're looking to address are the lack of pedestrian accommodation along the roadway and the lack of bicycle pavement markings. As you can see here, there's no sidewalk along the road and there's a lack of striping. So what we're proposing to do is a striped buffer along this shoulder to provide a little separation between the motorists and the bicyclists, as well as a new sidewalk along the edge of both sides of the road. And as you can see from this photo, here's an example where the guardrail is, not only is there no sidewalk, but the guardrail is up against the curb and forces pedestrians to actually walk in the road as they're walking along this side. And also, as you can see in this photograph, it's a relatively sharp curve with limited sight distance along that edge. As Phil said, we're also looking to maintain and upgrade the roadway's wearing surface. So what we're going to propose is to mill and resurface the entire roadway within those project limits. There's, as you can see, there's evidence of transverse cracking throughout the road and longitudinal cracking along the shoulder line, amongst other issues. So the project scope is relatively simple. New accessible sidewalks, both sides of the road. Bike lanes, both sides of the road throughout the project with the striped, the lane markings and the striped buffer. New pavement surface with all new signage and pavement markings. And then new crosswalks will be proposed across Route 202 with flashing, rapid rectangular flashing beacons that are push button actuated so that when a pedestrian wants to cross the road, there's notification to the motorist that there's somebody going to be entering the road. Now, we're proposing this at 2 locations where the sidewalk on the westerly side of Route 202 abuts wetlands. And those 2 locations are just at the Polish American Club. From the Polish Club to the Wingate facility, there's wetlands right up against the road. We studied this, and there would be either significant wetland impacts or wall construction required. So it was deemed that this would be a better location to cross traffic to maintain the pedestrian continuity. And the same condition over at the Stony Brook Bridge, where we would have had to have rebuilt the structure or done significant modification to that existing structure, which again, we studied that, and that structure's already been modified once, and it did not really seem to fit the scope of the project. So again, we're crossing pedestrians before and after the bridge to make that continuity for the sidewalk. The project schedule. We are here tonight, May 10th, at the public hearing. Our 25% design was submitted on October 3rd, 2017. We're anticipating a design submittal, 100% design submittal in August of 2018. From there, the right-of-way process takes place to secure the right-of-way as required to advertise the project with an anticipation of construction beginning in the winter of 2019-2020. How will traffic be affected? For the 2 travel lanes in the middle of the road, what we are anticipating will be a 1-lane alternating traffic. So 1 lane open for traffic with alternating directions controlled by police officers on either end of the work zone. That's just for the middle portion of the road. 2 lanes could be kept open for the shoulder milling and paving, and then minor shoulder encroachment would occur when the curb and sidewalk work is being done. The proposed improvements consist of the 2 12-foot travel lanes, 3-foot buffer up against and that's just a striped hatch buffer against the travel lane, and then a 5-foot wide bike lane. And when I showed my wife this slide last night, she asked, why is the sidewalk up so high? This is just a graphic to show that there's 2 different options here. In some cases, the sidewalk is up against the granite curbing, and in others, there's a grass buffer and sidewalk. We're trying to maintain the grass buffer as much as possible. However, it does work around the obstructions and utilities along the road. The sidewalk itself is proposed to be hot mix asphalt. The wheelchair ramps are obligated to be cement concrete, similar to what you see out there right now. And we are also proposing new sidewalk in locations where the existing sidewalk is either deficient or there is no sidewalk. So we are salvaging some of the sidewalk that's particularly in the stretch from Dartmouth Street up to Sunset Avenue, with selective sidewalk replacement from that point on. The environmental permitting will be required to submit a notice of intent for work in the buffer zone of the wetlands along the project. This will be submitted to the Massachusetts Department of Environmental Protection and the towns of Granby and South Hadley Conservation Commissions, with public meetings associated with these permits expected probably more towards the summer of 2018 as that process gets going. Contact information: Phil Yee is your primary point of contact, the MassDOT project manager. His contact info is here, and we can come back to this slide if anybody wants to get that and jot that down. And that concludes the formal part of the presentation. And again, thank you for coming, and we'll now open it up to the Q&A.
Okay. Thank you, Keith. I just want to add sort of the project schedule.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. Normally, we would have, after the 25% and the design public hearing, we normally have a 75% submittal. That's on the project schedule. I guess on some projects, they combine the 75 and 100% together. But on this one, I think we're going to go for 75 first.
Yes.
And 100%.
Yes.
All right. So I just want to make that clear. Okay. Before I open the hearing to questions and comments, let me explain the hearing procedures. First, as I said previously, the purpose of today's hearing is to solicit your input. Because you're residents, you would know this project area much more than we do in Boston. Regarding the project, as the plans are not yet complete, we may not be able to answer all of your questions or respond to all your comments at this time. Next, we ask that anyone who wishes to have his or her comments enter into the official hearing transcript, please stand up, identify yourself by name and affiliation, whether you are a abutter, local official, or concerned citizen, and please spell your last name out. This is necessary in order for us to obtain a full verbatim transcript as required by law. Also, the last sheet of the handout that you picked up is a mail-in sheet. If you have any questions or comments which you would like to submit in writing, please use that sheet for that purpose. You may leave that sheet with me tonight, or you may mail it to the department within 10 days from today, and it will become part of the official transcript. Today is the 10th, so May 20th would be the official date.
Excuse me, Phil?
Yes.
We need to come up to the microphone to ask their questions and comments.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Walter. Finally, it's normal procedure to ask elected officials to offer the comments first. Are any federal, state, or local official who would like to speak at this time? Yes, sir.
Good evening, Jay Joyce, spelled last name is Joyce. I'm a member of the Granby Planning Board. From South Hadley to Five Corners, which we call it up here in Granby, which you have another project which will be going on. We currently have sewer lines from South Hadley straight through, but we don't have water yet. And we're looking to improve the infrastructure within Granby. Is there some way that we could work together, maybe do this and save a little money versus you putting pavement down, then we dig it up, or we put it down, then you dig it up? That's basically the question.
As part of this project, we normally send out to utility companies what we're doing in this general area. And if they have concerns about future expansion and improvements, they could submit that to MassDOT's utility engineer, Guy Resendez.
Okay, in Granby, we don't have a water department, we don't have a sewer department, we don't have anything like that, so I doubt if we would have been notified about that. Because we are out here, we have our own public wells, we have our own septic and like that.
So, What utility facility does?
Well, we do have Columbia Gas, we do have in some areas of town, not completely in town. The only facility we really have is National Grid for electric, and that's entire in the town, which will be the only utility for that.
Mr. Joyce, it's probably best if you could send in the comment sheet regarding this concern.
just-
But it'll be on the transcript, and
No, not a
I'll
problem.
talk to the utilities engineer regarding this.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, Larry Butler, Butler, member of the South Hadley Planning Department, Planning Board, also the president of Pine Grove Condominium Board. It's a great project. We look forward to it. As this project affects Pine Grove, there's only one issue that needs to be addressed. To the immediate right, leaving the Pine Grove facility, there is a power pole, and I understand that utilities aren't going to be relocated. This pole is directly in view and blocks all safety concerns to the right-hand side of that exit. With the new bike lane and everything, you're going to have to pull the car out to see. You're going to be nose way out into the bike lane to be able to have the view to the right. That pole is an issue. It has been. If any way possible for it to get moved back, it would be wonderful.
Have you had the utilities meeting yet in the field?
No, because we didn't have any relocations, there was no specific utilities meeting. This is the
pole
that you're referring to.
Right.
So what I would say is, as we discussed earlier,
Right.
that's something I can talk to Paul Kelly about, and we can look into the possibility. We do have a permanent easement along the backside here.
Yes.
So I'm thinking like 3 to 5 feet.
It wouldn't take much.
I don't think it would, yeah.
We have 186 units in Pine Grove, so there's a good number coming in and out. And the main question that we get as a board over there is there any possibility of putting a stoplight out here? Which is probably never going to happen in our lifetime. But anything that can be done to aid the visual aspect and safety aspect of getting out of that intersection would be appreciated.
Paul Kelly is the District 2 Deuce. He's a utilities and constructability engineer. We consult with him later on regarding this. And regarding the traffic signal inclusion, I think you need a traffic signal warrant, which that's another dimension.
Yeah, that's tough.
Okay. So I hope that answers your question.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Mr. Butler. Are there any other questions or concerns? Yes, sir.
Bob Napolitano, Napolitano. I also live at Pine Grove. I'm the treasurer of the Pine Grove Condominium Association. To the left of that entrance, we have a wooden guardrail. I see in your plans you have a guardrail. Is that going to match our current guardrail, or is it going to be, it looks like a steel guardrail from the drawing, so it's a steel guardrail. And then the brook goes underneath the stream there, so how does that get impacted? The stream goes under the road, disappears somewhere, so.
Yeah, that's a beautiful little spot right there with the wooden guardrail. What we are currently proposing is the steel beam guardrail, and then the removal of this portion of the guardrail, because right now that would interfere with where the sidewalk would be going. And As far as the brook itself, the intent is for the guardrail to go in front of the culvert head wall. So it wouldn't impact you've got some really nice landscaping and mulch in that area there. We're trying to be as sensitive as possible to not affect that. What I would say is also, you can submit a request. If your interest is to try and match this guardrail, there are some, like a steel back timber rail that can potentially meet the criteria. I don't know, Karen, if that's something that's we just had our guardrail standards upgraded recently, so I'm not familiar with whether or not the steel, the wood guardrail that is sometimes used as a replacement for the steel guardrail would be still considered acceptable. The one thing I would say, though, is that it is far more expensive, so something like that would typically be whoever's making the request would have to pick up the delta or the increased cost of something for an aesthetic
Right.
improvement. And that's something, we would have to discuss, I would guess.
Yeah, we do have timber with steel back and guardrails, but they're like more expensive. So if that was a historical district or something, it would qualify for that.
Okay. My other question is, there's 186 units in that facility. Quite a few of us walk. We cross that street. Is there going to be crossing lanes other than when you talk about the sensitive wetland areas? So is there going to be a marked crosswalk to get from where the hand is now to the other side of can the chicken get across the road?
That is not part of the current plan. Again, that's something you can request and we can look at it. It is a long stretch of road, so there is a logic to providing some crossing so that people don't choose to cross in an unsafe location. So we would have to look at what would make sense. This is a fairly straight level stretch of road, so geometrically it seems as though it could lend itself to that. So I would encourage you to make that request and we can discuss that internally within MassDOT.
Okay. Thank you.
We certainly look into that. You're welcome, thank you. Are there any local officials or would like to speak at this time? Okay, the hearing is open to the public. We welcome your questions and concerns. If there are no other questions or comments or concerns, I'd like to remind you that the last sheet of the handout is the mailing sheet. If you have any further questions or comments which you would like to submit, please use that sheet for that purpose. You may leave the sheet with me again tonight, or you may mail it to the department within 10 business days, which is May 25th, 20th. And it'll become part of the official transcript. Before I close the hearing, I would like to say that we will be here as long as you are interested in looking in the project plans, and we will try to respond to questions that affect you personally. Thank you very much for attending tonight's hearing and providing this facility. I declare the hearing closed at 7:30 p.m. Thank you.